There is an Amish family in Pennsylvania whose medicine cabinet contains no pharmaceuticals, no painkillers, no sleep aids, no cold medicine. What it does contain is a collection of dark glass bottles, dried herb bundles, tinctures and salves, every single one of them made from plants growing 40 feet from their kitchen door. That garden is not large. It is not complicated, but nothing in it is accidental. Every plant has a purpose. Every section has a role, and everything works together as one complete system, healing, feeding, protecting, and preserving simultaneously. Today I am taking you through all 4 zones of a traditional Amish herb garden. Every plant, the science behind each one, and exactly how to build this system yourself. Let us begin. A traditional Amish herb garden is divided into 4 functional zones, and understanding the structure before we walk through the plants is what makes everything make sense. Zone 1, the healing bed, where the medicinal plants grow. The Amish medicine cabinet, growing in the ground. Zone 2, the culinary herb bed, the everyday kitchen herbs, planted nearest the door, used daily, chosen not only for flavor but for function. Zone 3, the protective border, the outer ring of the garden, plants chosen specifically to repel pests, deter insects, and protect everything inside. No chemicals, no sprays, just plants protecting plants. Zone 4, the preservation patch, where the herb garden connects directly to the Amish food preservation tradition, herbs that extend the life of stored food and connect the garden to the pantry. 4 zones. 1 integrated system. Every plant serving at least one deliberate purpose, and usually several. Zone 1, the healing bed. Starting now. Zone 1, the healing bed. The healing bed is the heart of the Amish herb garden. Every plant here was chosen because of a specific, observed, and generationally confirmed effect on the human body. Not from a trend, not from marketing. From 3 centuries of consistent use by families who depended on these plants for their health. That is a different kind of evidence from a clinical trial. But 300 years of consistent use by families whose survival depended on getting it right, that is not nothing. That is, in many ways, everything. Plant 1. Echinacea. Echinacea is a tall purple cone flower, striking in any garden, with its distinctive raised orange cone and drooping purple petals. The Amish grow it specifically for the root, harvested in the 3rd year of growth, when active compound concentration is highest. The science behind echinacea is well established. Its active compounds, alkylamides, polysaccharides, and caffeic acid derivatives, stimulate multiple aspects of immune response. They increase white blood cell production, activate macrophages, and have demonstrated antiviral activity against several respiratory viruses. The Amish use it in a very specific way, not as a daily supplement. At the first sign of illness, scratchy throat, unusual fatigue, the feeling of something coming, they take echinacea tincture 3 to 4 times daily for 3 to 5 days. That timing is the key. Echinacea's primary action is on the body's initial immune response. Used at the beginning of illness, it amplifies that response. Used after the illness is established, it is far less effective. They tincture the roots fresh in high-proof alcohol immediately after harvest. That tincture is what fills the dark glass bottle on their shelf. Dried flowers and leaves are made into tea for milder ongoing support during cold season. A different preparation for a different purpose, from the same plant. Plant 2. Valerian. Valerian is tall and elegant, with pale pink flower clusters, and a root that, when harvested, produces one of the most distinctive smells in all of herbalism. Strongly earthy, almost cheesy. That smell is the smell of valerianic acid, the compound responsible for its effect on the nervous system. Valerian's active compounds interact with GABA receptors in the brain, the same receptor system targeted by sedative medications, though through a different mechanism and with considerably less potency. The result, taken consistently over 2 to 4 weeks, is reduced time to fall asleep, improved sleep depth, and reduced nighttime waking without morning grogginess or dependency. The Amish tincture valerian root fresh, because volatile active compounds degrade during drying, making fresh tincture significantly more effective than preparations made from dried root. They harvest in October, tincture immediately, and take it in small doses 30 minutes before sleep. It does not work on the first night. It builds over 2 to 4 weeks. That timeline is not a weakness of the plant. It is simply how it works, and the Amish, who think in seasons rather than days, accept that without difficulty. Plant 3. Comfrey. Comfrey has a nickname that tells you everything. Knitbone. That name comes from its most observed and most remarkable property. Applied externally over a healing injury, comfrey measurably accelerates tissue repair. The active compound allantoin stimulates cell proliferation, confirmed in laboratory studies, speeding the repair of bruises, sprains, fractures, and muscle injuries when applied topically. The Amish make comfrey salve, leaves infused in olive oil for 4 to 6 weeks, thickened with beeswax, applied directly to the skin over any injury that needs deep tissue healing. One critical distinction, the Amish observe precisely. Comfrey is used exclusively externally. The pyrrolizidine alkaloids it contains can cause liver damage if consumed internally over time. External use over intact skin, for the duration of healing, is safe and effective. Internal use is not appropriate. That distinction, maintained precisely, is the difference between a powerful plant and a harmful one. Plant 4. Calendula. Calendula is vivid orange, abundantly flowered, and easy to grow, but do not let that simplicity mislead you about what it does. The active compounds in calendula, flavonoids and triterpenoids, stimulate fibroblast proliferation, the process by which new skin tissue is produced. They reduce inflammation in damaged skin. They demonstrate antimicrobial activity against bacteria, commonly involved in skin infections. This is among the most researched skin healing plants available. The Amish rule with calendula is non-negotiable. Pick the flowers every single day during the growing season. Calendula is an indeterminate bloomer. It produces flowers in response to harvest. Pick daily and the plant produces more. Leave the flowers and production slows. Daily harvesting is both the practice of medicine and the practice of gardening working as one. Calendula salve is the most commonly gifted item between Amish households. New mothers receive it. Unwell neighbors receive it. It is used for nappy rash, farm wounds, burns, chapped skin, and eye washes. One plant, one preparation, dozens of applications. Plant 5. Fever, Few. Feverfew is modest in appearance. Small white daisy-like flowers, deeply divided yellow-green leaves, a strong bitter smell when crushed. It grows easily, spreads gently, and requires almost no maintenance. Its primary traditional use is fever reduction, but its most researched modern application is migraine prevention. The active compound parthenolide inhibits the release of serotonin from platelets and prostaglandins from white blood cells, both implicated in the migraine cascade. Taken daily as 2 to 3 fresh leaves, Feverfew has demonstrated significant reduction in migraine frequency in multiple clinical trials. The Amish observed that community members who ate fresh leaves regularly experienced fewer severe headaches. They maintained the practice. The research confirmed it generations later. Feverfew also appears in Zone 3 as a mild insect deterrent. Its strong volatile oils repel certain pest species. It therefore serves 2 zones simultaneously. That dual utility is characteristic of the most valued plants in the entire Amish system. Zone 2. The Culinary Herb Bed. The plants that cook and heal simultaneously. The culinary bed is positioned nearest the kitchen door. Herbs harvested daily, in small amounts, used constantly through the cooking day. But every plant here was chosen not only for flavor. Every herb the Amish cook with also does something measurable for the health of the person eating it. Food and medicine are not separate categories in the Amish kitchen. What you cook with every day either supports health or diminishes it. The culinary herb bed makes the right choice automatic. Plant 6. Sage. The name salvia, sage in Latin, comes from salvare, meaning to heal. The Romans who named it were not being poetic. They were being accurate. Sage is used in the Amish kitchen, primarily with fatty meats, pork, duck, goose. This pairing is not merely traditional. Sage's volatile oils stimulate bile production and support fat digestion. The Amish cook fatty meat with sage because sage helps the body process fatty meat. That is culinary medicine expressed as flavor. Beyond the kitchen, sage tea made at twice normal cooking strength is the Amish primary gargle for sore throats and oral infections. Rosmarinic acid and flavonoids in sage demonstrate antimicrobial activity against Streptococcus, the bacterium responsible for strep throat, in laboratory studies. Sage is also used for reducing excessive perspiration, confirmed in clinical research, and as a supportive preparation during the menopause transition. Multiple effects. Multiple preparations. One plant growing 3 feet from the kitchen door. Plant 7. Thyme. Thyme is small, woody, and low-growing, but it is the most antimicrobial culinary herb in this entire garden. The primary active compound thymol is so potent as an antimicrobial that it is used in the pharmaceutical industry as the active ingredient in certain antiseptic mouthwashes and surgical scrubs. In the Amish kitchen, thyme goes into soups, stews, and roasted meats, where it flavors the food and simultaneously inhibits microbial growth during cooking. As medicine, strong thyme tea is the primary Amish preparation for respiratory infections. The volatile oils, inhaled as steam and absorbed through the respiratory tract, are directly antimicrobial in the airways. Thyme tea with raw honey, the honey providing additional antimicrobial action and coating the throat, is one of the most consistently given Amish preparations for children's coughs. This combination has been studied and confirmed as effective in reducing cough frequency and severity. In the garden, thyme is planted at the front edge of the culinary bed in full sun, where it forms a low aromatic mat that also serves as a living mulch, suppressing weeds around taller plants. Even in its placement, it is doing 2 things at once. Plant 8. Rosemary. Shakespeare wrote that rosemary is for remembrance. He was reflecting a genuine and ancient observation about this plant's effect on the brain, one that modern research has substantiated. The active compounds in rosemary rosmarinic acid, carnosic acid, and 1,8-cineol, have demonstrated measurable effects on cognitive processing speed and accuracy. Research has shown that even the inhalation of rosemary essential oil improves mental performance. Taken regularly as food or tea, rosemary compounds show protective effects against oxidative stress in brain tissue. In the Amish kitchen, rosemary is used extensively with lamb, pork, and roasted root vegetables, where its powerful antioxidant compounds also retard the oxidation of fats in cooked food, extending palatability and safety. Before refrigeration, rosemary was used in cooking, partly because it genuinely helped food last longer. The flavor was secondary to the function. Rosemary tea is used for circulatory health and cold extremities. A strong rosemary infusion used as a hair rinse is a traditional Amish preparation for scalp health, a use substantiated by research comparing rosemary extract favorably to minoxidil for hair growth stimulation. Plant 9. Mint. Every experienced gardener knows the specific challenge of mint. It spreads aggressively, through underground runners that travel well beyond any planted area. The Amish solution is definitive. Mint is grown in a container sunk into the ground, with the rim above the soil surface. The runner cannot escape. Problem solved. The Amish grow both peppermint for medicine and spearmint for cooking, treating them as different plants for different purposes. Peppermint's primary compound menthol activates cold receptors and relaxes smooth muscle, which is the mechanism behind its well-established effects on nausea, digestive cramping, and irritable bowel symptoms. A cup of strong peppermint tea after a heavy meal is not merely a pleasant tradition, it is physiology. The Amish have known this through observation for generations. The clinical research confirms it entirely. Fresh peppermint leaves applied to the temples for tension headaches. Steam inhalation for nasal congestion. Spearmint in lamb dishes, summer salads, and cold drinks. Both varieties dried in quantity through summer for year-round tea. Dried mint on the Amish kitchen shelf is as standard and unremarkable as salt. Plant 10. Lemon balm. Lemon balm is the herb the Amish reach for when what is needed is not treatment, but restoration. Its active compounds interact with GABA receptors in the brain, producing a mild but genuine calming effect measurable in clinical studies. They also inhibit the enzyme that breaks down GABA, effectively extending the brain's own calming signal. The result is reduced anxiety and improved ability to settle into sleep. The Amish use lemon balm tea as a daily evening preparation, the transition from the working day to rest. They use it for anxiety in children where stronger preparations would not be appropriate. And they combine it with valerian for sleep support. Lemon balm reducing anxiety, valerian promoting depth of sleep, the two working together more effectively than either alone. There is something in lemon balm's character that reflects the Amish philosophy of health at its most fundamental. Not every preparation needs to be powerful. Not every remedy needs to be complex. Sometimes the body simply needs to be reminded how to rest, and a gentle, freely given herb is entirely sufficient for that purpose. Zone 3. The protective border. Nature defending itself. When faced with pest pressure, the modern gardening instinct is to reach for a chemical solution. The Amish reach for a plant instead. The protective border is a ring of specifically chosen plants around the outside of the herb garden, producing volatile compounds that deter, confuse, or repel insects and pests that would otherwise damage the plants inside. No chemistry, no residue, no effect on the bees and predatory insects the garden depends on. The garden, in this zone, is defending itself. Plant 11. Lavender. Lavender is the plant that most clearly demonstrates dual function in the Amish garden. It is beautiful, but the Amish do not grow it for beauty. They grow it because it works. The volatile compounds linalool and linaloyl acetate in lavender are powerfully deterrent to moths, mosquitoes, flies, and certain beetles. Dried lavender bundles placed in clothes storage as a moth repellent have been used for centuries, and the effectiveness is chemistry, not tradition. In the garden border, lavender in full sun creates a fragrant barrier while simultaneously attracting pollinators. Bees are strongly drawn to lavender flowers, benefiting every productive plant inside the garden. One plant protecting from outside and feeding from inside simultaneously. Medicinally, linalool has demonstrated anxiolytic effects in human trials comparable to low-dose benzodiazepine medications through a GABA receptor mechanism. Lavender oil inhaled at bedtime reduces anxiety and improves sleep quality. Applied to burns and skin irritation, it soothes and promotes healing. Used as a headache preparation on the temples, it relieves tension pain. The research behind all of these uses is substantial. Plant 12. Wormwood. Wormwood is the most powerful deterrent plant in the protective border, and the one that most clearly demonstrates the Amish principle that knowledge matters more than just having the plant. The compound absinthin, released from wormwood as a volatile and leached from its roots into the soil, is profoundly deterrent to a wide range of insects, cabbage moths, carrot flies, several beetle species. It is the strongest natural insect deterrent in the Amish garden system. The warning that accompanies wormwood in Amish herbal knowledge is genuine and important. Thujone, the compound present in wormwood in significant concentration, is neurotoxic in large doses. The Amish use wormwood exclusively as a garden plant and as an externally applied spray. They do not use it internally. That distinction is taught clearly to every family member who works in the garden. The most powerful plants in the Amish system require the most careful handling. Wormwood demonstrates that the knowledge of dangers is as important as the knowledge of uses. Plant 13. Tansy. Tansy is tall, vigorous, and deeply aromatic, growing to 4 feet with bright yellow button flowers and leaves that release camphor and thujone compounds that are highly deterrent to ants, flies, aphids, beetles, and moth species. Planted at the outer corners of the garden, tansy forms a fragrant perimeter that discourages many of the insects that would otherwise move freely through the herb beds. Combined with wormwood, it creates a deterrent barrier stronger than either plant alone. The same internal use warning applies to tansy as to wormwood. The thujone content makes consumption potentially harmful. The Amish use it exclusively as a garden deterrent and as dried bundles placed to repel flies and ants in living and working spaces. Tansy also draws potassium and minerals from the subsoil through its deep root system. Its leaves, cut and composted, release those minerals into the surface soil. Like several other plants in this garden, it feeds the system while protecting it, another plant serving 2 roles simultaneously. Plant 14. Yarrow. Yarrow appeared in our first video on Amish healing plants. I return to it here because yarrow illustrates more clearly than almost any other plant in this system the complete Amish principle. A healing plant in Zone 1. A protective plant in Zone 3. The same plant, different placement, different roles, complete utility. In the protective border, yarrow serves 2 simultaneous functions. Its volatile oils deter aphids and beetles, and its flat-topped flower clusters attract lacewings, parasitic wasps, and hoverflies, the natural predators of the pest insects attacking the garden. Yarrow does not just repel pests. It calls in the predators of those pests, maintaining a population of beneficial insects throughout the season, so they are present and ready when pest pressure arrives. This is sophisticated ecological management, expressed in the form of a plant, and it is entirely characteristic of the Amish understanding of the garden as a living, self-managing system, rather than a collection of individual plants. Zone 4. The preservation patch. Where the garden connects to the pantry, the preservation patch is where the Amish herb garden connects directly to the preservation system we covered in our last video. Every plant here contributes to the safety, longevity, or quality of preserved food. The Amish understanding of herb gardening and food preservation are not separate bodies of knowledge. They are one continuous system. The garden produces, the preservation method extends, the pantry stores. The herbs in this zone are the bridge between all 3. Plant 15. Dill. Dill is an annual that reseeds itself prolifically, appearing reliably in the same patch year after year without replanting. The Amish allow it to naturalize in the preservation patch, harvesting what they need and leaving enough seed heads to ensure the following season's crop. Dill's primary role is in lacto-fermented pickles, the traditional preparation covered in our last video. Fresh dill heads packed into fermentation jars contribute flavor, but also contribute volatile antimicrobial oils, dill ether and carvone, that work alongside salt and lactic acid bacteria to create a preservation environment hostile to harmful organisms and supportive of beneficial ones. The Amish understand that dill and salt in fermentation is not merely traditional. It is functionally superior to either alone. They contribute different things to the same preservation goal. That understanding of complementary function is characteristic of Amish herbal practice throughout. Dill seed tea is the traditional Amish preparation for infant colic. The volatile compounds relax intestinal smooth muscle and reduce spasmodic pain. Simple, effective, and available from a plant that grows in the garden without any assistance. Plant 16. Horseradish. Nothing about horseradish is subtle. The root, grated or cut, releases allyl isothiocyanate, the compound responsible for its intense, sinus-clearing heat. That compound is potently antimicrobial against a broad spectrum of bacteria and molds, the same organisms that cause food spoilage. The Amish use fresh grated horseradish in curing mixtures for meat, where it inhibits bacterial growth and extends the safe storage period of cured products. It serves simultaneously as flavoring and as a functional preservative. The 2 roles are inseparable. Medicinally, fresh grated horseradish mixed with raw honey taken by the teaspoon is the traditional Amish preparation for sinus congestion and upper respiratory infections. The allyl isothiocyanate vapor released in the upper respiratory tract is directly antimicrobial and immediately effective as a decongestant. As a garden plant, horseradish spreads vigorously and is difficult to remove once established. The Amish contain it deliberately in the preservation patch where its spreading habit is accommodated. A plant that is difficult to remove is simply a plant that has been placed correctly. Plant 17. Garlic. Garlic is by a significant margin the single most important plant in the Amish preservation and medicinal tradition after the major healing herbs. It is planted in October, harvested in July, and used daily through every month of the year in fresh, dried, fermented, pickled, and honey-preserved forms. The chemistry is well understood. Raw garlic contains allicin, which converts on cutting or crushing to allicin, one of the most potent naturally occurring antimicrobial compounds known, active against bacteria, viruses, fungi, and parasites. The Amish preserve food with garlic in multiple ways: cloves added to fermentation crocks, rubbed on cured meat surfaces, infused in vinegar for both preservation and household disinfection. Medicinally, the research behind garlic is among the most extensive of any food plant. Antimicrobial activity, cardiovascular effects including blood pressure and cholesterol modulation, immune stimulation, anti-inflammatory action, all confirmed in clinical research. The Amish have known all of this empirically for 300 years. They did not need the research. They had 300 years of keeping people healthy to tell them that garlic works. Plant 18, Fennel. Fennel is tall and architectural, feathery bright green fronds, hollow blue-green stems, flat-topped yellow flower clusters producing the characteristic anise-scented seeds. Its role in the preservation patch is primarily in sausage making and cured meats. The combination of salt, smoke, garlic, and fennel seed in traditional Amish sausage is not merely a flavor tradition. Each component contributes a specific preservation function. Salt draws moisture. Smoke provides surface antimicrobial compounds. Garlic provides allicin. Fennel provides trans-anahole and fenchone, volatile compounds with demonstrated antimicrobial properties. The combination is greater than the sum of its parts. That is the Amish understanding of preserving herbs. Not single ingredients with single effects, but a system of complementary compounds working together toward the same goal. Fennel seed tea is the traditional Amish preparation for digestive complaints in adults and infants, relaxing smooth muscle of the digestive tract and relieving gas, bloating, and cramping. One of the most consistently used and consistently effective digestive preparations in the Amish repertoire. The system, the big idea. Step back from this garden and look at it whole. Zone 1, plants that heal the body when it is sick. Zone 2, plants that nourish and protect through daily food. Zone 3, plants that protect the garden from what would damage it. Zone 4, plants that extend and preserve everything the garden produces. 4 zones. 18 plants. A system so complete that it simultaneously addresses medicine, nutrition, pest management, and food preservation without a single external input. No pharmaceuticals, no pesticides, no artificial preservatives, no supplements purchased from outside. Everything the system requires, it produces within itself. That is not an accident. That is centuries of careful, intentional, generationally refined design, expressed in 40 square feet of ground next to a kitchen door in rural Pennsylvania. The Amish did not build this from a book. They built it from observation, from noticing what worked, from passing the results of that observation to their children, who passed it to theirs. The garden you have seen today is not the design of one person. It is the accumulated wisdom of many generations of people who paid very close attention to the same piece of ground. That wisdom is available to you. Starting with one plant, one zone, one season of careful attention to what grows, and how it behaves and what it does. If this video gave you something useful, and 4 zones of a complete Amish herb garden suggest it should, the best thing you can do right now is subscribe. Because everything covered in this video connects directly to what comes next. The next video goes into the Amish natural remedy system, the specific preparations they make for the 20 most common health complaints. The plants, the preparations, the dosing, and the science behind each one. Subscribe so you do not miss it. Drop a comment below telling me which zone you are building first, or which single plant you are starting with. I read every comment. And if you know someone who would benefit from understanding how this garden system works, share this video with them. This knowledge deserves to travel.